I heard my own voice calling from down in the gorge before I ever saw anything else. Not an echo. Not radio static. My voice. The exact cadence I use when I'm trying to sound calm and in control. Bouncing up from the dark water below the footbridge. Hey, over here. Nothing in me wanted to look over the side. But I did. And I saw myself standing knee-deep in the river. Same jacket, same braid, same tired face. One hand lifted, palm open. She didn't blink. The river moved around her like she wasn't even there. Then the figure raised her right hand just a little, and I saw something glint where the knuckle should be. Something like polished stone, pale and sharp. The bridge shuddered once under my feet, 3 slow knocks from below the planks. Then the voice said my name. Nora. Cut to 1 week earlier. The first storm of October had brought down half the ridge, and our trail crew was playing cleanup along Bald River Gorge. Blowdowns, erosion cuts, trash from summer hikers, the usual. I'd worked fire lines for 6 years before I took this seasonal ranger contract, and compared to hotshot work, trail maintenance felt almost relaxing. Until that day. Mason was the first to notice the cairns. They weren't random stacked stones like you see from Instagram hikers. These were deliberate, tight stacks of river-worn quartz and flint, each one about 2 feet tall, each capped with a triangular shard the color of old bone, and every single cairn pointed toward the river crossings. Probably just some backcountry DIY spirituality thing, Mason said, kicking the dirt around one. He was young, too eager, the type who joked his way past discomfort. Or we just found the world's most underwhelming cult. Don't touch them, I said. Just mark their GPS for survey. I radioed in our coordinates and called for liaison review. In Cherokee National Forest, you don't assume trail art is just trail art. There are burial grounds, story sites, places left alone for reasons older than any map. That's how Atsadi Gaylor ended up meeting us on the trail. Adi wasn't a ranger. He was tribal liaison and cultural monitor. Quiet, calm, always listening longer than he spoke. He studied the cairns the way I'd seen wildfire crew bosses study the sky. Like the outcome was already known, and it wasn't good. These were made recently, he murmured. Within a season. Maybe weeks. Marking something? I asked. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. We found the first blade an hour later. It was wedged deep into the exposed roots of a hemlock, shaped like a long isosceles triangle, flaked edges sharper than glass. The kind of stone you didn't carve by accident. Mason slid a glove on and pulled it free. The air went dead still, not quiet, dead. No insects, no leaves, no river noise. Just the feeling of being observed by something with patience. "What is it?" Mason asked. Adi took the blade from him, extremely carefully, like it might cut just from being looked at. "Do not joke about this," he said, "and don't speak her name. Not here." "Her?" Mason laughed, but the sound wavered. "Like a witch in the woods?" "What? She gonna hex us?" Adi didn't respond. He simply set the blade down on a flat stone, angled toward the river. Not away from it. I'd worked enough wilderness search operations to recognize when a rule had just been invoked, even if the rule wasn't spoken out loud. We packed up early. The air felt wrong. Not bad, just aware. As we crossed the small footbridge heading back to the service road, something knocked beneath the deck. 3 slow taps. Wood answering wood. Except it wasn't the sound of wood. It was stone, scraping as though dragged across grain. Lena, our medic, frowned. Probably river debris bumping the support. But the river was low, calm, too calm. I didn't say anything. I just kept walking. That night in my cabin, I reviewed radio logs from the day, scanning for interference. Everything checked. No glitches, no cross-channel bleed. But right as I was about to shut down for the night, my handheld crackled once and a voice said, "Hey." Over here. My voice. Clear. So close it felt like breath on the back of my neck. I didn't answer. I very quietly set the radio down. And outside my window, in the dark between the pines, something knocked 3 times. Slow, deliberate, patient, like it already knew my name. Like it always had. By morning, the forest felt like it was watching us. Not hostile, not welcoming either, just aware. Like every root and branch waited to see what we would do next. Lena chalked it up to bad sleep and too much caffeine. Mason, naturally, decided to double down on jokes. But Addie was quiet. He didn't walk in front or behind us. He stayed in the middle of the group, listening. The cairns continued. Not scattered now, lined. A path of stone markers guiding toward the ridge above Bald River Gorge. Each one capped with a flint-like shard that seemed to catch light even in shade. I noticed the shards all pointed the same direction, upslope, toward the timberline. "Someone's mapping something," Lena said. "Or marking a boundary," Addie replied. That word, boundary, hung in the air. We stopped for lunch near a shallow rock shelf where the river spread wide and slow. Flat boulders warmed us from below. Everything seemed normal for a moment. Sun, water, the smell of leaf mold and pine. I let myself breathe. Then Mason stood and pointed. A line of tracks crossed the sandbar. Not deer, not elk. Something with toes. 5 of them. Human-like, but wrong. The stride was too long, and every print went in one direction only, no approach path, no departure. Just appearing, starting at the water's edge, then walking straight uphill into the laurel thicket. "Barefoot hiker?" Lena tried. "No," I said. "Those prints are too deep." Whoever made them weighed at least 300 pounds. Adi didn't speak. He just knelt by the closest track, placed his hand beside it, and closed his eyes. Not praying, confirming. He stood. "We are not alone up here. But the one who laid these prints is not the one using your voice." My stomach dropped. "There are 2? "A hunter," Addie said, motioning toward the prints. "And something that hunts hunters." We moved on, climbing switchbacks into older forest. The hemlocks here were enormous, trunks wide enough to shelter a tent. The air cooled, the light thinned. The quiet deepened until the only sound was our breathing. At the next cairn, Addie stopped us. This one wasn't like the others. It was taller, shoulder height, and crowned with a stone shaped like a human jaw. The setting sun cast the shape into a silhouette that looked almost like a face. But more than that, the woods around us were disturbed. Bark stripped high on trunks. Branches snapped at 8-9 feet off the ground, as though something tall had moved through here without bothering to duck. "This is Tsul'kalu's territory," Addie said quietly. "The great hunter. The one who walks the high passes. The old stories say he keeps balance. Not gentle, not cruel, just necessary." Mason swallowed. "So we're in Bigfoot country." "Bigfoot is a Campfire mascot," Addie said, voice flat. "Tsul'kalu is to the forest what gravity is to the world. You don't see him unless something has gone wrong." The wind shifted, and with it came a smell I recognized instantly. Carrion, but not fresh. The long rot of something that had died without burial. We followed it a short distance to a small clearing. A deer lay stretched out on its side, not torn apart, not eaten, just opened, like something had removed its organs with surgical precision and left the body clean and empty. No blood, no tracks around it. Lena took a step closer and froze. "Nora, look at the ribs." The bones had been scraped smooth, polished like by stone. My voice came again from just beyond the clearing. "Hey, over here, close, too close, 5 feet behind us." But none of us turned, because Addie lifted one hand, palm low, and whispered, "Do not answer. Do not acknowledge it. If you do, it will think you chose it." The forest held perfectly still. The voice called again. My voice, exactly. A perfect mirror. "Come see. I need you." Mason's breathing hitched. I could feel him wanting to turn, to look. People are built to answer their own names, to run toward familiar voices. Then, movement. Not behind us, above. Something large shifted in the canopy. Branches barely swayed, but I felt the weight. A presence like a boulder balanced on a ledge overhead. Addie spoke without looking up. "That is Tsul'kalu." My heart hammered once, hard. "Is he here to protect us?" I whispered. "No," Addie said. "He is here because something worse is." The voice behind us laughed. My laugh. The canopy creaked. Something enormous exhaled. The forest waited, and it wanted to see which one of us would move first. We didn't run. Running felt like the exact kind of mistake this place wanted, like turning your back would count as permission. So we stood in the clearing, 4 people holding our breath while something above us shifted its weight on a branch thick as my waist. I could hear bark compress, wood strain. Whatever was up there was heavy. The voice behind us, my voice, kept talking. "You're tired, Nora. Come down to the river. Rest. I'll take care of the others. You don't have to work so hard." It said it the exact way my mother used to when I was 12 and having panic attacks. The tone, the softness. It should have comforted. Instead, my bones felt like they were vibrating. Addie leaned close, barely a whisper. She can only mimic what is remembered. She is a mirror that cuts, but she is not the one above us. Do not confuse them. She? Lena whispered, voice breaking. Adi closed his eyes. Utlunta. Mason swore under his breath. The witch. The one. Stop, Adi snapped, sharper than I'd ever heard him. Do not name her again. The voice behind us stopped mid-sentence, like it had been listening for exactly that. A twig cracked behind Mason. He flinched and turned before I could stop him. There I was, standing 3 feet behind him. Same boots, same mud pattern, same red scratch on my cheek from when I walked into a branch that morning. But the eyes, no light in them, just dark, just hunger. Mason stumbled backward. No, no, no! The thing smiled with my face. I stepped between him and it, lifting my axe. The mimic didn't move. It didn't need to. Just stood there, stone still, like it knew we were already losing. Adi pointed upward very slowly. The canopy shook once. Not like wind, like something had dropped from one trunk to another without touching the ground. The weight of the forest shifted. The mimic's head snapped toward the sound, alert now, not in control anymore. Something else was hunting it. The mimic took a step back. That was the first time I saw it move wrong. Too smooth, like joints sliding instead of bending. Its right hand flexed, and moonlight caught a sharp, stone-like shine where a knuckle should be. The witch. No doubt now. She retreated into the underbrush with one liquid motion, fading into the foliage like a shadow melting at noon. The forest exhaled. The presence in the canopy stayed. We moved again, silent now. No jokes, no radio chatter. Just the climb, switchback after switchback, toward the timberline. The mountains swallowed us, and the world narrowed to breath, boots, and the memory of that face wearing mine. An hour later, we reached the stone culvert, a narrow passage where water funneled through stacked rock. The perfect threshold. Stone above, water below. A feeding ground. Not here, Weena whispered. We can't stop here. We have to, Adi said. Night is coming. She is strongest at dusk. The giant won't interfere once dark falls. His work ends at the boundary of night. If we don't shelter here, we'll meet her where she chooses, instead of where we can control the ground. Shelter. Right. If you could call crouching inside a moss-slick stone tunnel shelter. We gathered inside the culvert. The water's murmur filled the space, masking footsteps, masking voices. The stone walls were cold enough to feel through layers. Nobody slept. Hours passed in dripping silence. Then, a knock. 3 slow knocks on the stone roof of the culvert from above us. Mason's teeth chattered. She followed us. No, Adi murmured. She's testing. Waiting for the river to speak back. What does that mean? I whispered. It means she's looking for the right voice to imitate. The radio crackled. Static, then... Nora? It's Dad. My father's voice. He's been dead 7 years. Don't be scared, Bug. Just come outside. I'm right here. My vision blurred. Lena grabbed my arm. Don't move. Don't speak." The voice changed. "Nora, I need you." Mason's voice, fragile, shaking. Then Lena's voice. Then Adi's. Then mine. Then all four at once, layered, overlapping, like a recording of us played backward underwater. The stone walls trembled. Water tremored. The forest outside went still again. That's not just mimicry," I whispered. "She's calling something." Adi's jaw tightened. "Yes. She is calling the giant down from the trees." "Why?" Mason whispered. "Because she knows we will choose the wrong thing if we panic," he said. "She wants us to run." Into her hands. The knocking stopped. Silence. Then something scraped along the culvert floor, stone on stone, right outside the entrance. Slow. Measured. Patient. "She's here," Lena breathed. Number. Not just her. Something else moved in the branches above. Weight, like a fallen boulder. Breath, like slow wind through hollow cedars. The giant was waiting too. And the night was just beginning. Night fell without warning. No sunset, no fade. Just a sudden dimming as if someone had closed a hand around the sky. We huddled in the stone culvert, water whispering under us, the mountain breathing cold air through the cracks. The mimic prowled outside. Its footsteps didn't splash or crunch. They just arrived, one after another. Like it placed sound carefully where sound should be.
Then, from above, the trees shifted. Weight. Massive. Careful. Watching. Sulkalu was still here. The witch was not in control of this night. That almost made it worse. "We can't stay here," Lena whispered. We all knew it. The culvert was defensible, but only until one of us broke, and we would break. That voice, it didn't need to shout. Just whisper the right memory, the right regret, and our feet would carry us out of safety like sleepwalkers. Adi finally spoke. She hasn't shown her right hand clearly yet. She won't, not while she thinks we'll come willingly. So we need to make her use it, I said. Adi nodded. Force her to brace, to catch herself. Under strain, the hand will open. The heart sits behind the palm. Stone over stone, strike there, and she will break. Strike it with what? Mason hissed. We don't exactly have an anti-witch toolkit. I still had the sledge head in my pack, the broken-handled trail maul we'd meant to haul out for repair. I slid it free, felt the weight. If I could fit a new grip, if we could reinforce the head with river pebble, stone hurts stone. Nora, Lena said softly, you're thinking about using the bridge. And she was right. The small footbridge downstream, the one from the night my voice first called from below. A threshold, a place where the witch fed. If she believed she was hunting me, she'd step onto it. And when she did, she'd have to brace. Wood slick with river mist, footing uncertain. She'd put her right hand down, palm open to catch herself. The perfect moment. But there was one more problem. The giant, Mason whispered. If he's still up there. He won't interfere unless we set foot in his domain, Adi said. The lower crossing is hers, not his. He watches the ridges. The bridge lies in the gorge. If we go to her,
He will not follow." That was not reassuring, but it was enough. We moved. The hike down was worse than the climb up. The forest felt pressurized, like deep water. Every sound was too close, too amplified. Snapping twigs sounded like gunfire. The mimic followed beside us in the trees. Not behind, beside, sometimes ahead, sometimes whispering footsteps where there should be none. "Nora," drawn out, soft, close. We didn't answer. We didn't look. The moon slipped in and out of clouds, turning tree trunks into 100 silhouettes that all could have been someone watching. Then we heard it. Chickadee-dee. Clear, sharp. A call cutting through the dark like a compass needle. The same bird that revealed the palm in the stories. The helper. Adi stopped, every muscle locking. That means she's near. Very near. And listening. No voices now. No talking unless it was breath-level whisper. The river came into view, white water gleaming like teeth. Mist climbed off it in long ropes, wrapping the world in a shifting veil. The footbridge waited ahead. Wood darkened with age, handrails smoothed by weather. The exact place where I'd seen my double. My stomach twisted. It felt like stepping toward my own grave, but we had a plan. Lena took the magnesium flare, the one tool that could wash stone surfaces in blinding reflection. Mason held the phone with the recording of my voice, ready to play it and lure her onto the bridge. Adi positioned himself at the near end, eyes scanning for the chickadee. The bird would tell us when the mimic was forced to use her right hand. I walked to the center of the bridge. The river roared below. Cold mist crawled across my boots. I set the mall head beside me and wrapped my fingers around the hickory handle we'd lashed with riverstone. Then I said quietly, "Hey, over here." My voice echoed off the gorge walls. Leaves rustled. Branches bowed. A figure stepped from the fog. She wore me again. My body, my face, my posture. But the eyes, empty, dark, ancient. She stepped onto the bridge. The wood creaked. The water hissed. She took another step. Another. Close enough now that I could see the faint grit of stone dust across her cheeks. She lifted her right hand, stone finger glinting, but not yet. Not bracing, not exposing the palm. She smiled. My smile, but wrong. "Come home, Nora," she whispered. "You don't have to fight anymore." My heart lurched. And then, chickadee-dee-dee. Sharp, urgent, the signal. The witch's right hand pressed to the railing as the slick wood shifted under her weight. The palm opened. The stone thinned. The heart glowed beneath. Weena lit the flare, white fire washing over the boards. Mason hit play, my voice calling from the phone. Adi shouted, "Now!" I swung. The mall connected with a sound like bedrock splitting under ice. The witch screamed, not in my voice, not in anyone's. Her voice was the sound of mountains eroding. The right hand shattered. Stone dust sprayed like sparks. The body staggered and fell over the side of the bridge, down into the white water below, disappearing into the gorge. The forest went silent. No voice called after. No mimicry, no footsteps, just the river. And the dark. But the giant did not leave. I felt him still, watching from the ridge, judging what we had done, or deciding what would happen next. We didn't speak for a long time. The river filled the silence, loud and indifferent. Mist curled up from the gorge, glowing faintly in the moon-slashed dark. The bridge creaked under us like it was remembering every foot that had ever crossed it. The witch was gone, but the forest was not done with us. Mason leaned over the rail, breathing hard. We did it, right? No one answered, because doing it was not the same as ending it. Addie knelt where the witch had braced herself. The wood was split, fibers flayed open like a wound. Stone dust glittered in the gap, a fine gray powder that settled on his fingers when he touched it. She broke, he said quietly. We struck her true. The heart behind the palm is shattered. She can't take form again. Not for a while. How long is a while? Lena asked. Addie didn't look up. A season, a year, a lifetime. The stories don't measure time like we do. Mason sank to sit with his back against the railing. He looked small for the first time since I'd met him. Not cowardly, just human. What about the other one? He meant the giant, but didn't dare say the name, as if the question itself summoned him. The trees above the gorge shifted. A slow, deliberate movement of weight across high branches. Not hunting now, just watching. The hairs on my arms lifted. He saw, Addie said. He knows we did not call her. We did not bargain with her. We just defended ourselves. Is that good? I asked. Addie finally stood. It means he will let us leave. The wind passed through the gorge then, cold, clean, like the forest was exhaling. The presence receded, the weight lifted. The world felt like itself again, or close enough to pass for it. We crossed the bridge together. No knocking this time, no voices from below. Just the river moving on without memory. The hike back to the service road took hours, though none of us remembered speaking. The cairns we passed were toppled now, not by us, but by something that came before. Clean breaks. Stones placed carefully back into the earth, like a hand smoothing disturbed ground. Dawn met us as we reached the trailhead, pink light catching spider webs between laurel leaves. The world looked ordinary, almost gentle. But I knew better, and so did the others. At the ranger station, Lena filed the incident as a wildlife encounter with a predatory animal, a truth the reports could tolerate. Mason went home for the season a week early. He hugged me before he left, and he didn't joke once. Addie stayed behind while the others dispersed. He placed a cloth bundle on my desk. The broken stone finger, wrapped so it couldn't touch bare skin. It needs to go somewhere she can't hear water, he said. Far from rivers. Far from bridges. Somewhere dry? I asked. He nodded. Somewhere the mountains do not call her name. We didn't say goodbye. We just understood something was finished between us.
And something else was now threaded through every quiet moment of our lives.
3 weeks later, I sat alone in my cabin, radio on low, coffee cooling beside me. The forest outside was just wind and leaf fall. No voices, no footsteps. Peaceful. Until the radio crackled once. Nora? Not my voice, not my father's. A man's voice I didn't recognize. Low, weighted, deep as bedrock, not asking for me. Calling to me. 3 slow knocks sounded against the cabin wall. Not stone this time. Wood. Heavy. Measured. As if something enormous was reminding me. Balance doesn't end just because you survive it. I didn't move toward the door. I didn't answer. The knocking stopped. Wind moved through the trees. A single sound floated in with it. Chickadee-dee, soft close. Watching. Not warning. Just making sure I remembered. If you ever find yourself deep in the Cherokee backcountry and the woods go quiet, don't call out. Don't answer your name when you hear it. And whatever you do, don't look over the edge of the bridge. Some things don't disappear. They wait. If you made it this far, thank you for listening around the fire tonight. If you enjoyed the story, leave a comment, share it with a friend who hikes a little too far off trail, and consider subscribing for more stories like this one. New horrors arrive every week. Until then, stay warm, stay curious, and stay out of the dark.